And finally tonight, we pay tribute to Lucille Berrien, Artie Clark-Halyard, and Bernice Lindsay. Joining us to discuss their legacy is historian Dr. Sandra E. Jones, author of Voices of Milwaukee Bronzeville. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
All right, so first off, let's talk about Lucille Berrien. We were talking backstage about the history of activism between all three of these women, but Ms. Berrien first. Just talk about what she means to the city.
Lucille has a history of activism in the city of Milwaukee. She migrated to Milwaukee from Florida in about the 1950s, and her whole history here, she's contributed a lot to the history of Milwaukee, has been fighting for the rights of people, fighting for the rights of African Americans in the city of Milwaukee. She worked in the area of housing. She worked in the area of welfare rights. She was one of the founding members of the National Alliance Against Racist and Political Repression, which grew out of the national movement to free Angela Davis. She was the first African-American woman to run for mayor in the city of Milwaukee back in the day. She also ran for Wisconsin's state treasurer in, I think it was 1990s. And her whole life has been giving to the community that she has loved.
That is a pretty profound and extensive history, so happy to learn that. But now let's talk about Ms. Halyard, right? You know, Columbia Savings and Loan, we all know the bank, the black bank here in Milwaukee, but talk about her activism in the economic sense.
Yeah, she also migrated to Milwaukee back in the day, and she and her husband, Wilbur, were very interested in improving the housing situation for black people in the city. They founded as everybody knows, the Columbia Savings and Loan, which made it possible for black people to purchase housing because banks very much discriminated against black folks back in the day. They are the Halyard Park area in Milwaukee is named after Artie and Wilbur Halyard. They funded the first houses that were built in the area, and it was built mainly for working class people who worked at not Alice Chalmers, Master Lock and A.O. Smith. But it really gave African Americans a chance to create generational wealth that you know, had been lacking up to that point. And so the area is named after them, and it's a great tribute to their activism and their contribution to the city.
So there are themes of activism, themes of housing, also themes of migration. So talk about Miss Bernice Lindsay, right? So
Bernice Lindsay is another person who migrated from Indiana to Milwaukee. And Bernice Lindsay was also very much interested in improving the housing conditions of African Americans in the city. So there were a number of projects that she was involved in. One was a project around the area of Stark Street, and she and a group of African Americans bought up some land basically for the taxes that were due on them and sold them to African Americans who wanted to build houses. The project was halted because of things like restrictive covenants, but she was successful in creating a housing project along 1800 on 4th Street. And again, what that did is it made it possible for black people to own their own homes, create generational wealth, and you know, live a better life in the city of Milwaukee.
So we have about a minute left. What do you want our viewers to know and people to know about the legacies of all these three women, if you could sum it up for us?
They symbolize what black people do. Black people do what black people have to do to get ahead. You know, it's not just protesting, but how do we help ourselves acquire the things that we deserve? You know, the wealth, the progress, and so on. And the three of these women represent that very well.
Dr. Jones, such an honor to have you on the show. Thank you so much for being here on Black Nouveau.
Thank you so much for having me.